Hello, vinyl community people. It's Mike, MGK Boston. I was out for a long run this morning. A friend of mine, Bryant, he doesn't have a channel, but he watches my videos. He's getting ready for a marathon, so he asked me if I'd go for a training run with him. I guess it sucked the wind right out of me. Anyway, we knocked out a short 8-miler, and it felt surprisingly good. I know I was bitching and moaning about my aches and pains in my middle-aged period of life here, but it was a good one. And the weather's changed. We had a really grim past week. Felt like I was living in Northern England, not New England. It was damp and cold and crappy, but April showers. Well, these were May showers because it was the first week of May. So we turned a corner. It's a beautiful day out. So anyway, you didn't come here for the weather forecast. You came here for Mike, MGK Boston, and some music, hopefully. So when I did the Richard McCook 10 questions the other day, by the way, I've really been enjoying that thread and all the responses. They've been really terrific. You learn something new about people, what they like, what they don't like, and we all don't like the same things. So, don't be easily offended, people, if someone doesn't like something. But anyway, yeah, he had a question on there. I think it might have been the first question. Do you ever struggle to come up with ideas for your videos? And I said, no, not really. I do a lot of my thinking when I'm out running. Well, that said, it was such a nice morning today, and we were out pretty early. It's going to be around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's around 20 degrees Celsius. So anyway, it was really pleasant and sunny. So I thought, it's spring. Spring is in the air finally. So is the pollen and my allergies. Boy, I'm complaining a lot, but trying to keep the cup half full. So anyway, a video today about spring and sun. So I'm going to try to feature, I'm going to show a dozen releases here, and all have a song relative to either spring or the sun. So let's dive right into this beautiful forecast of music, if you will. So Sinead O'Connor, there's no songs on this about sun or spring. However, she was on the Chrysalis label, and from my middle school science days, a Chrysalis, which is this record label, as I just said, that she's on, is the pupal stage of a butterfly. So before a butterfly becomes a butterfly, it's in a pupa. Larva becomes a pupa, I think. I can't remember exactly, but sixth grade was a long time ago. But anyway, this is her debut, The Lion and the Cobra. So I'm just going to show a few bands that are on the Chrysalis label. And this is a very early CD. I would have bought this right when it came out in 1987. I was just starting to buy. This was one of the first CDs I actually purchased, and it sounded really, really terrific. It's in triple digital sound. You can see on the bottom here, there's the Chrysalis logo again. But yeah, just on the plain silver CD with the butterfly right there. Some of the key ones on this one, if you don't know it. Jackie is really great. Mandinka was the big single from this. And I Want Your Hands on Me, Drink Before the War. I mean, this is a really solid debut before she went a little off the rails later on. I do have the 2 follow-ups to this one, but beyond that, I checked out. And yeah, Jerusalem is probably my favorite song on this. Really good. And Troy's another good one. Like I said, this one's stacked. It's The Lion and the Cobra on the Chrysalis record label. Might know this guy, Midge Ure, originally from Ultravox, at least after John Fox left. Midge came in on the Vienna album, I want to say in 1980, and became the new lead vocalist for Ultravox. This is his first solo album. It's called The Gift. It's right there. The font's a little small. And this, again, was released in 1985. So around this period, he was collaborating with Bob Geldof, of course, from the Boomtown Rats. In 1985, was their main focus was putting together the Live Aid concerts in Philadelphia and at Wembley Stadium over in London in the summer of 1985. So he was a busy man this year, his first solo album, and then that whole Live Aid thing. So you all know about that. So anyway, Ultravox did one more album after this in 1987, and then that was Splits, and Midge did solo stuff after that. So this actually plays a bit like some early Ultravox. There's some really good synth stuff on here. If I Was the big single on this, if you wanted to look up a single, and there's a very good video for that one as well. The Gift, the title track, is good, and there's actually, closes out the album with a reprise of The Gift as well. So let's see if we can see the Chrysalis label. That's the whole point of me saying this. Now this is really hard to see. That's Midge Ure rather, and where is it? There's Chrysalis. right there on the bottom in silver. That's a little hard to see. But again, Midjour, The Gift, his debut solo album from 1985. Here's another band from Down Under, from Australia. I might have seen John at Down Under Tunage mention Icehouse at one point. It's interesting, some of the covers, this would have been a Canadian pressing because I would have bought this when I was living in Canada still, are different than the Australian pressings I noticed on Discogs. But I'm not sure about this one. But they at this point, I wanted to say, oh, this is probably their fourth studio album in 1986. Frontman right there, a guy named Iva Davies. Boy, look at that mullet and those pants. This is 1985, though, of all things. So again, or 1986 rather. But yeah, Iva Davies. This was produced by a guy named Rhett Davies, no relation. But this guy had a really, I drone on and on about Brian Ferry and Roxy Music because I love him so much. Very similar style to Roxy Music, actually. Avalon, this plays a little like that. Some of the songs from this one, No Promises, Spanish Gold, and Cross the Border is very good too. There are actually videos for that, at least for No Promises and Cross the Border. There's another shot of Iva Davies, the lead singer, on the back. See the Chrysalis logo and this. Yes, there it is. And the butterfly. Chrysalis. I had to be creative coming up with this one. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to just show songs. Like I said at the beginning, it's songs about the sun and spring. However, I thought the butterfly element was interesting. And of course, I've already defined Chrysalis for you in case you missed that science class early in your life. So yeah, Icehouse. The title of that one, Measure for Measure. Really good. I've got a few Icehouse albums. Would have purchased all those back in high school. Well, now speaking of butterflies, these guys from Athens, Georgia. This is Widespread Panic, Bombs and Butterflies. This is their fourth studio album. If you're into any of the American jam bands, you're familiar with Widespread Panic. John Bell, the lead singer and guitar player on this. He's not the lead guitarist, but yeah, this opens up like a record, like a gatefold. They were on the Capricorn label. There's the band on the inside. I never got to see them. A couple of the guys are deceased now. This is from 1997. And again, like I said, it's their fourth. And it's called Bombs and Butterflies. If I was to recommend some tracks from this, I'd recommend Radio Child. I'd recommend Aunt Avis. And I'd also recommend Tall Boy. Really good track. Speaking of summer, you're going to crack a few Tall Boys. I know I am. So it's Widespread Panic, Bombs and Butterflies. Closing out that butterfly theme. So now we're moving into the songs of spring and sun. So let's go. There he is, Flower Power. Donovan Leitch right there. Here he is with the Maharishi on the back. So this one, of course, is called A Gift from a Flower to a Garden. Release date on this one is 1990, no, a little before that, 1967. So I bought this at a show a couple of years ago. This, the sleeve, it's seen better days, but I was able to tape it up and fix it. Otherwise, the record is in immaculate condition. Even came with this book, which is more of a folder, and it's got all this really cool artwork. There's a piece of art for every track on the album, right? Really, really cool. And the lyric sheet. These are all lyric sheets, basically, and on each one is a different sketch. Really, really nice. Yeah, and I paid. That was another Richard McCook question. Do you ever talk about the price? And a lot of people have said only if it's a good deal. This was a very good deal. I got this for $10, and the records, of course, I've replaced the inner sleeve, but they're great. Of course, he was on Epic. And the song I'm talking about on here is Lullaby of Spring. Not sure which side it's on here. There it is right there, track 3. See, the Lullaby of Spring. And that's Donovan, from a flower to a garden. And yeah, excellent package this is. Apparently this is one of the first studio double albums ever. But I don't know how much truth is in that. I just saw that on allmusic.com. It was pretty interesting. But again, there he is with his guru, the Maharishi, Donovan Leitch. All right, Lullaby of Spring. Great track. Look that one up. Jack Bruce actually played on that. Of course, Jack Bruce, bass player from Cream, Blind Faith, among other things. He played on the electric parts on that as a session guy. So that's a little side trivia for you. Moving into the world of jazz, there's Stan Getz. He's just lying there reflecting. The name of this album is Reflection. There he is. He's having a dart, relaxing. And yeah, of course, this was released in 1964. The song on here I'm talking about is Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most. That'd be track 3 on side 2. And of course, he was on the Verve label right there. So it's Stan Getz, Reflections, 1964. And yeah, again, the song I'm talking about on here, Spring Can Really Hang You Up. Yeah, hang you up the most. And that's Stan Getz, Reflections. All right, and this guy, Mark Hollis, he died, I want to say he passed 2 or 3 years ago, right before the dreadful year of 2020 that we know and hate. Terrible year, and I think that might have been the year he actually passed on. This was their 3rd studio album, and this is when they really, in my mind, hit gold on this one. Just really excellent. I was in my senior year of high school, I think, when I bought this, and again, yeah, 1986 was a release date on this one. It's, of course, title on this one, it's The Color of Spring. Just a really amazing record, and if you look up any of the videos on this, and I love music videos because I was raised in that era in the 80s. Look up Life's What You Make It if you don't know that. Living in Another World is excellent, and Give It Up is really great. This whole album, front to back, it's really stellar. Of course, more butterflies. I said we were done with that theme, and there they are. That's a beautiful cover on this one. And on the inside, yeah, there's the late great Mark Hollis, the lead singer right there, and a couple of the other guys from the band. And this is what I'm talking about. This band, they are called Talk Talk. Color of Spring, the name on that one. Really, that's a highly recommended record if you don't know it. All right, we're moving all around here. Another late great, John Denver here, Rocky Mountain High. This was his 6th studio album. I think he'd already won a Grammy at this point. 1976, the release date on this one. He does an instrumental piece on here, and it's called Season Suite. Right there, you can see it. And he rounds out the record with that one, and it goes summer, fall, winter, late winter, early spring, and then spring right there. So again, that's the seasonal suite, season suite rather, and there he is. He looks pretty happy there. Yeah, it's John Denver. What else can you say about it? It's Rocky Mountain High. Yeah, he's getting Rocky Mountain High, 420 with John Denver. All right, Beatles. I've never shown a Beatles album, so there's a first time for everything, folks. I only have a few. I know it's sacrilegious to say it in the vinyl community. I'm not a giant Beatles guy. If you had those questions, you know, black, white, chocolate, vanilla, jazz, blues, Beatles, Stones, I'm going to go for the Stones. So, yeah, so Abbey Road, of course, the name on this one. The release date on this is 1969. And the song I'm talking about on here is Here Comes the Sun. Yeah. Right there on side 2, opening up side 2. Everybody has seen this album a million times, so I'm not going to go into great detail. You already know it if you're a Beatles fan. It was an EMI recording on Apple Records, and there they are walking across the street by Abbey Road. That's the Beatles. All right, Here Comes the Sun. The sun's out here. It's already here. All right, where are we at here? We are at Velvet Underground Loaded. Yeah, so this is excellent. This is their 4th studio album. And the song I'm talking about on here, it opens up with it, and it's called Who Loves the Sun? Well, I know I do. So, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on this one. Sweet Jane was on this one. Rock and Roll, Cool It Down, Oh Sweet Nothing, Lonesome Cowboy Bill, Head Held High. I mean, yeah, this is another one. Everyone's great. This is a Canadian pressing I would have bought when I was still living in Ontario. And they were on the Cotillion label. There's the studio on the back. And again, the name of this one, Loaded. I don't think there's anything really on the inside here. No. So they were on Atlantic. Atlantic must have bought Cotillion. Cotillion was a small label at the time, but this is a repress from the 80s. I would have bought this one in university, mid to late 80s. So yeah, again, it's Velvet Underground Loaded, the track I'm talking about. Who loves the sun? Who doesn't? That's a better question, right? All right. We're really all over the place today. Taking a trip down to Dallas, Texas. This is the Polyphonic Spree. Polyphonic Spree were this is their first album, the beginning stages of, released in 2002, I want to say, formed by a guy named Tim DeLauder. He was the front guy with a band called Tripping Daisy. His collaborator in that band, the guy's name escapes me, he died of a drug overdose, and then this became Tim DeLauder's next project, and it's a big one. It's a giant chorus. It almost looks like a cult. If you look up the Polyphonic Spree on this one, the song I'm talking about on this one is, what does it open with? Get the inside out so I can show you guys what this is all about. It's the Sun is the name of the track I'm talking about on here. Don't know where the track listing is on here, but yeah, it's just, hey, it's the Sun, rather. That's the name of the track. There's the whole chorus right there. There's like 20 to 25 people, multi-instrumental. You can see here's a big bass drum, whatever you call that thing. And of course, there's a regular electric guitar on the back, but really freaky, funky, not funky, freaky. Get your freak on. But it plays almost like, if you're very familiar with the movie Hair, the musical, it's like that, kind of like a collective with the choir singing. If you like that kind of thing, you might like the Polyphonic Spree. Again, this is the beginning stages of, and this was released in 2002. And the track that opens this album, it's called Hey, It's the Sun. And there you can see on the inside, not much there. It's the beginning stages of the Polyphonic Spree. Yeah, really wild. Story behind this one. I was just in a record store at the time. I was still living in Ontario. That's right before we moved to the States. And oh yeah, you can see on the back here, they're on some label out of Dallas, Texas, called Good Records out of Dallas. So yeah, again, Tim DeLauder and the Polyphonic Spree. And I heard this playing in the record store, and it's one of those, hey, what's that? And I grabbed it that day, sight unseen. But yeah, it's really nice. Really, it's a really good record when you're in the mood for it. All right, and this is another CD. This was a reissue, obviously posthumously. This came out in 2000. I want to say the year on this one. Yeah, 2000 on Epic. And it's a compilation of some of Stevie Ray's best blues. It's called Blues at, what is it? Sunrise. So there's sun right there. So yeah, this is a compilation of what you would call maybe his best blues songs on here. They're from his records like The Sky Is Crying, Couldn't Stand the Weather. So here's the track listing right here on the inside. And of course on Epic, there's a little story about how the compilation came together. And yeah, on this one, The Sky Is Crying is probably my favorite on this one. And there's a version on here he does of Blues at Sunrise, the song, right there at the last track. And that is, Blues at Sunrise Live. Does that with Albert King. And this is another one. Just thought I'd show this at the end. It's pulled from this album. So this is a session they did at a television station in Hamilton. Hamilton is a city probably about 40 minutes west of Toronto. My wife grew up about 15 minutes from Hamilton. And so it was recorded at a TV studio. I don't know if they just happened to be in Toronto at the time and they got together and did this. I don't know the story behind this. I bought it at the time it came out because I was a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, and I'm also a big Albert King fan, so it was a perfect marriage right here. This was recorded in their studios at the CHCH television station, it says right here, in Hamilton, Ontario, in December of 1993. There they are again on the back. So this is just stacked. And again, like I said, Blues at Sunrise is on this, and it clocks in at 15 minutes. Right there it is. Let's see what's on the inside. Really, I don't think this is available on vinyl. Possibly it would maybe one of those record store day reissues, but again, I don't believe it is. There they are on the back. Stevie and the band, Tommy Shannon and Chris Slayton are not in this photo. His sidemen, his drummer and his bass player. But yeah, I think it was with these sidemen look like this was Albert King's band right here actually, and there's Stevie. So yeah, on this one, the credits, it's on the credits. It's a guy named Tony Lawrence on piano, Gus Thornton on bass, and Michael Lawrence on drums. Those two guys, Tony Lawrence and Michael Lawrence, must have been brothers. Yeah, so it's Stevie Ray Vaughan with Albert King and Albert King's band, and again recorded at CHCH Studios in Hamilton, Ontario in 1983. And again, the name on that one, In Session. Blues at Sunrise, the song I'm talking about on there. So that's going to round things out with this sun and fun theme, spring, if you will, on a sunny Saturday here in New England. So yeah, whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a good one. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up, folks. So yeah, if anybody wants to jump on this and try to, maybe put together a video with songs about sun and spring, or put your twist on it with some butterflies, I don't care. I'll watch it. So drop a comment if you decide to do that. Yeah, so anyway, thinking about new ideas for videos all the time, folks, and I hope you are too. Have a great day.